Welcome to Pushrod Racing Garage. Today what we're going to discuss is how to find the proper rocker arm geometry and with the proper push rod length. So what we got here is a rocker arm. This is a few things that I like to do. Some people do it differently. But I like to determine, when I'm looking at the rocker arm, the center pivot point between the trunnion, this is called the trunnion, and the roller tip. So what I like to do is I like to put a marker line. This will help us down the road. Okay, roughly about the center of the trunnion and the center of the pivot point of the roller. Okay, so how we're going to determine the proper push rod length and the proper geometry is we got a push rod that's adjustable. Okay, so we can find, after when it's all done, we can find the actual, we can take this out and find the right length that we need to order. Okay, so we go back to the engine here. This is the stud where the rocker arm mounts to. It's a 7/16 stud, and we know that the pitch on here is basically like 20 threads per inch, which equals about, every turn equals about 50 thou per turn. So that's very important to know what stud you have. You can have 3/8, which will be a different pitch and different, every turn, different thread per inch. So every time you turn one thread, it's a different size. So this one here in particular is a 7/16 that we're using, which is on the engine over there as well. And we know every time you do one full circle, it's 50 thou. Okay, because there's 20 threads in an inch, which is 50 thou in 50 thou per inch, 50 thou per thread every time you turn one revolution. Okay, so anyways, we determined that, and that's going to be very important. Okay, to find the proper geometry of the rocker. This method was taught to me about 5-6 years ago from a very intelligent and one of the best engine builders in the world. And it's worked out so far really good for us. So anyway, and this is what we're doing. Okay, so we go on, put the rocker arm on, and we just put a couple threads on the top. Okay, and where you're going to look here on this line here, and what we're going to find here is we're trying to determine a 90 degree from here to the valve, okay, which is basically about 90 degrees right now. What you want to do to find proper rocker arm geometry is have a 90 degree at half lift, which would be on this cam, which is 570 lift, would be 285 thou. Okay, and then this should be exactly, most likely, exactly like the way it is now, which is 90 degree to the top of the retainer. So if you look at that, that's 90 degrees. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to turn the motor. We're going to count the threads on the top. We're going to make a mark on the threads. Okay, we're going to grab a marker, and we're going to make a mark on the threads. So right now, all the way to the top, it's 90 degrees. Okay, but we need to get 90 degrees at half lift. So how we're going to determine that? We know that every time you turn the nut, one full revolution, okay, will be 50 thou. So at 285 lift, we're going to turn it 5 times, okay, which will be 250, and then just a little more for the 35 more. Okay, so if you look at the line here to there, we're going to turn it 5 times. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then now that would be 250 thou. So halfway would be 275. Okay, and we're just going to go a little more. So right about there. That should be 285 right there. Okay. So if you look at now, what we need to do, we need to turn the motor over. Okay. And we need to adjust the rocker arm. Okay. So that it's at halfway lift, five turns, 5 3/4 turns basically on the top. That's roughly about 285 thou from using the pitch of the stud and the basically at 50 thou each turn. So and that was at we had set it already originally at a 90-degree angle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the push rod, okay, underneath it, that it's snug, okay. So it's snug there, and what we're going to do is now we're going to check to see if it's at 90 degrees at half turn, at half lift. Okay. So this is at 0 right now. We snugged the push rod to the bottom, okay, and now we're going to go to the dial indicator here, and we're going to go to half lift, so which would be 285 thou. That's 1, 2, and that's about 285, right about there. Okay. Okay, there we go. So now we're gonna look back and look at the valve, okay, which is the valve stem, okay, to this line. And if you look at it, it's exactly 90 degrees, and that's what you want. That's proper rocker arm geometry. Halfway through the lift of the cam, you want a 90-degree from the roller to the trunnion here. You want 90 degrees line, the rocker arm to be about 90 degrees, and that's where it is right now. So now that we established that, what we're going to do is take out the rocker arm, take out the nut on the top, loosen it back off. Okay. Take it off, and we're going to try another method just to make sure this is good. And what we're going to do first actually is we're going to measure the push rod. So we measured the push rod, and it's at this push rod here is 7.2, roughly 7.2 long, okay, and we have them here. So now we're gonna just double check our work. You put the push rod in, okay. We're gonna get the marker, and we're going to paint the tip on the valve here. I'm going to paint it all blue. Okay, and what that's going to show us also is where the roller, the tip of the roller is going to be working on. And what you want it to work on is not too close to the edges, mostly in the middle, and you only want to basically a 50 thou mark, or like touching area, you know. That's all basically what you want. You don't want any more than that. So we got the 7-200 push rods in there. Again, we're going to put that in. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it at 0 lash for now, just to see where it's running. Okay, and then you have to set your lash later on what your cam specs are. If you run a hydraulic roller, there's different procedures of doing it. We're not going to get into that. We're just going to get into the proper geometry of the rocker arm right now and see if we've done what is right. Okay, so that's pretty snug on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn the motor a full revolution. Okay, so the valve's going all the way down. Okay, and we're going to check it one more time again. So we're going to go 1, 2, 285. That should be 90 degrees to the valve with those push rods, and that's what it is, 90 degrees to the valve. As you can see, the line goes straight across and straight down, so it's 90 degrees. We're going to continue going all the way down. Okay. Okay. And now what we're going to see is what mark it did to the tip of the valve. Okay, so if you focus on that, so if you can notice the line where the rocker traveled through the whole duration, was right in the middle. That's basically where you want it. It's right there. You want it right in the middle of the valve, and it's approximately 50 thou thickness, and yeah, it's about 50, this one's about 59, 58 thou, which is perfect geometry. Okay, if you look at the caliper, we're about 55, and if you look there, that's about the line where it is, and it's about 55 thou. That's perfect rocker arm geometry. This is very important when you're revving the engine at high RPMs, that you're using very good push rods, again, the rocker arm set up properly with the right adjusted, right height of a push rod. That's basically how I adjust it. There's other people doing it a different way, but this has worked out for us in the past, and that's our method. So this method is what I used, and I've been using it now for a long time, and it was taught to me by a master engine builder a long time ago, and it's worked out really well. I've used it in the boosted application, nitrous application, normally aspirate application. There's other methods. This is one I use, and it's always found the right push rods and never really had any issues. And what we're doing here is trying to share some of this knowledge to the public, and trying to do a good deed. And I hope you liked the video, and click like and subscribe, and more videos to come.